By now, you've seen quite a bit of what blockchain is able to do. But that's just a moment in time. There's far more to be done. And in this section, we're going to talk about where this whole blockchain movement is headed. This is the beginning of a technological revolution, and right now you're getting in on the ground floor. There's a lot more things that are going to happen ahead. As we go on through this lesson, we're going to address some of the key areas where blockchain is being implemented and where you can expect to see a lot of developments in the blockchain space. I want to start with some of the industries and areas transformed by blockchain. This is not an exhaustive list, but it will give you some groundwork of some of the areas that are currently being explored. A key area where obviously you're seeing a lot of blockchain development is in the finance space. Some of the areas where finance industry is actually looking at is supply chain, as we explained, trade finance, you see commodities trading, and also transactions clearing, because blockchain technology enables to be able to do these processes in a more secure and faster way, especially in working with different parties across different areas. Working with blockchain enables all these things to happen more effectively, and the finance industry is carefully looking at how to implement blockchain. Another area where you're going to see a lot is in the government space. Governments are looking around the world on how to apply blockchain. Some areas that are being contemplated are, for starters, voting. Huge problem with voter fraud, and also being sure that when you complete an election that all the results are actually accurate. Blockchain enables you to have a single source of truth of the results of that election. Another key area that's being explored is property rights. Big problem with different property rights where people may have a piece of paper saying they own a property, but the truth is, where is that record currently being held? Property rights is a huge component that's actually being looked at as a solution that's going to be solved with blockchain. And definitely anti-corruption. It's a huge problem with people making fraud and having different corruption problems. Because of the blockchain, you're able to keep a permanent and immutable record of everything that happens. Huge area for blockchain. Another key space is healthcare. Some of the areas healthcare is looking at blockchain is definitely medical records. Key problem with medical records is that whenever you go to a doctor, that doctor does not have access to your previous doctor visits. There's a lot of information that's currently being kept on separate silos across different hospitals and different places. To be able to keep all that on a blockchain makes the whole process far more efficient. Same applies to patient privacy. It's important for medical records and having patients' records be controlled. Being able to assign that to a private key and letting the patient control those records is an area that's being looked at for a blockchain application in the medical space. Additionally, the pharmaceutical industry is looking at using supply chain to be able to track not only how the supply chains work, but also prevent counterfeit drugs from entering the supply. Another key area you're going to see is in the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry has been looking at blockchain for a long time. Key area with the entertainment industry is copyright protection. When the internet kicked in, the industry had a big problem with music being converted into MP3s and just being spread globally, free. If a song becomes a free MP3 and gets sent around the world, then basically it's a free song and it has no value. By being able to use blockchain to convert it into a digital asset and controlling how that asset is used, you're able to preserve the copyright and value of that piece. Piracy issues are a big problem as well. And ticketing fraud. We talked about how Ticketmaster is actually using a blockchain-based solution to prevent ticket fraud. We go on to other areas is education. Education is also looking at blockchain for many different areas. Among them, certification authenticity. A lot of people claim that they may have a diploma from a certain organization. Well, now if you have that on a blockchain and actually you are able to verify that that certificate was authorized by the educational institution, it's a huge value add. Same thing applies to financial aid and education fraud. A lot of people fake results so that they can actually get financial aid. So there's a lot of problems with that, and blockchain may help solve them. Another key area you need to look at is military usage. In the military space worldwide, they're looking at blockchain, especially in the cybersecurity space, and being able to use encryption and a blockchain to be able to preserve the integrity of all the information that's being spread in military context. Also for asset tracking, knowing exactly where the different weapons and where different assets are kept, and being able to preserve that in a secure environment on a blockchain is a key area of interest for the military industry. But let's talk about blockchain and realize that blockchain is just one technology, and it can be combined with other technologies. As a result, you can see blockchain as a technological force multiplier when it is combined with other technologies. Some of the technologies that are being contemplated to work with blockchain include, among others, we have to look at the Internet of Things. There's a huge movement worldwide for all devices to be connected onto the internet. Well, you need to make sure that all these devices are tracked securely. By being able to create an individual identity for all of these items and tracking that identity and what it's doing on a blockchain, the Internet of Things becomes far more efficient and secure. Another key area you're going to see a lot of this is actually in drones. When you look at drones, drones are individual flying vehicles, or they may actually be other types of drones, but the key thing is all of these drones move around and you need to know where they are, what assets they are tracking. It's very important to be able to preserve that information in a secure manner. When we move on beyond that, another key area is self-driving cars. Think about it. You have a 2,000-pound vehicle moving around controlled by a computer. Well, you have to make sure that that device is actually handled in a secure manner. To be able to track that asset and control it in a secure manner, blockchain can really help that matter. As we move on, another key area you're going to see is augmented reality. And by augmented reality, the idea is that in the world we live, the offline world, you can actually have augmented reality assets around you. You can walk around and using a mobile device, you can literally have different assets. Well, if you can assign a value to those assets, much like a CryptoKitty, but you have a virtual device and you have a virtual object in an augmented reality space, you can actually sell it for a lot of money. Augmented reality is definitely an area that's looking at blockchain and how to benefit from it. Moving in the same space, we're looking at virtual reality. And what I mean by that is when you are in a virtual space, you can create a full landscape. And in that landscape, you could sell buildings, you can sell items, you can sell cars, and you can sell those cars for a certain price because you can create these digital assets of value. And blockchain can help all those happen. As we move on, I also want to talk about another key area, which is big data. As we continue, data is being captured in all of our movements. Marketing companies are looking at them as you make different buying decisions. All of this data is big data. Well, you have to make sure that that data is actually preserved with full integrity. Blockchain is definitely making inroads with big data. And I want to complete this by talking about 3D printing. In the 3D printing space, the space is that when you create an object in a 3D environment with a 3D printer, you can create as many as you can. Well, unless you have a way to preserve the integrity and secure it so that you don't print an unlimited number of these, well, that becomes a key challenge, much like happened in the music industry. So being able to create an asset and have a control of it, and it can only be accessed through a private key using blockchain, is a huge area for 3D printing because you can actually sell assets individually by being able to control how many assets you produce by using a blockchain-based solution. Moving on with that, I want to finalize the whole thing with robotic process automation because the world is moving towards replacing many of the processes that we know now with robots. And as these robots take over the different tasks that people do, it's important to ensure that they're actually controlled and that the information that they receive is completely in integrity. This information can be kept more securely by using blockchain. And this completes all the different areas that you can look forward to seeing in blockchain in the near future.